Hi, my name is Maya Dinger, and I'm finishing up my Doctor of Musical Arts degree at Arizona State University. I'm also the instructor of oboe at Paradise Valley Community College. I want to thank you for taking the time to prepare for these auditions, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about them today. So you can walk into your audition if you have three things. If you have good intonation, if you have accurate rhythm, and if you have a musical plan for each excerpt, then you can walk in very confidently. I like to tell my students the following. If you find the rhythm difficult to play it slower on one note. Just pick an easy note to sound on oboe like B flat, C, D, and just play the whole thing 10, 20 clicks slower, making sure that it's completely accurate. Tempo. Never ever play anything faster than you're able to. I'd much rather hear something that is under tempo and very clean as opposed to at the correct tempo marking, but inaccurate. If the notes are difficult, I like to play the piece, the etude, without any rhythm. So just go through the whole thing and just play one note at a time. So you get that muscle memory in your fingers, because the muscle memory is what comes out during the audition when you're very nervous. And at the end of your practice session, I like to tell my students, always try to put 5 minutes at the very end to play sight reading. And I know no one wants to do it. We sometimes just gloss over it, but it's really important, and you will be doing it in the AMEA audition. So just pick some random music and go at it at the end of the practice session. All right, let's talk about the English horn excerpts for this year's AMEA festival. So, in the first excerpt, what's really interesting is how many different types of articulations are. We have staccatos, we have marcatos, we have legatos, we have tenutos, right? Everything is in this, and you really need to make a difference between all of them. And it's hard because it's like every second note is a different one, but try your best to be as articulate as you can. Other than that, it's really straightforward. Make sure you have the pesante, that last measure, in your head before you play it, because it kind of is like putting the brakes on the tempo right away, just for that last measure. All right, now for the second etude, Adagio, Doloroso e rubato, take your time in it. Do not rush it. You can even go a little slower than 66 if you like. Push and pull that tempo. What's really important is showing that stark dynamic contrast between the pianissimos and then going all the way up to the forte, back and forth like an echo. And English horn's a really nice instrument to do that. So I would recommend in the measures where you have to go really low, da 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 dum, to use left E flat, because you have to go to the D flat, and then forked F, actually, if your forked F sounds good on your English horn, going back down to the E flat. Put as little reed in your mouth as possible so those notes sound and don't squeak, and then that will be great in this excerpt. And then really ending that last note as calm as you can, taper when you cut off. All right, etude number 3. I love this one. It is so much fun. It sounds so happy. I think that the most difficult thing in this etude is not slowing down, especially when you get to the second line where it says piano, bum 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 ba da da dum. It's so easy to go bum 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 bump, and then you're like, oh no, I gotta speed up again. So make sure that you have that pulse going inside your head that whole time. Also make a nice difference between the articulations in this one as well, but it's not as difficult as the other one because they're spread out more, but they are still there. So pay close attention to that, and that will be it for the third etude. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about etude number 4. I've had many students tell me that this is by far the most difficult, and I really think it's just because of the accidentals that carry through, not slowing down. It's in 2/2, so just think of it. It says pesante, half note equals 80. So just practicing that with the metronome. What I like to do is I'll put the metronome on twice the tempo whenever I see something like this. So 80, then 160, and when I feel comfortable with that, that's when I'll set the metronome to 80, because then I'll have that pulse in my head. Look at the third line, the fourth measure. That's probably the trickiest measure in this whole etude, starting on that forte. I would recommend going to the forked F, and then the left E flat, and then the D flat. If your forked F doesn't sound good on your English horn, you could play your left F and then just switch really quick from the regular E flat to left E flat. But that's a lot of micromanaging. And then besides that, da 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 ba ba ba, that last measure. Play that really strongly. It has those marcatos on there, and that's it for the fourth. All right, the fifth etude. So 5/8 going to 6/8, going to 3/8. There is no shame in drawing in your beats because this is written in such a way where it can mess you up thinking that something goes twice as fast as it really does. So I still draw in my beats sometimes. No shame in that. So really just figuring out, especially at the 4/8 at the end, da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-ba. Also feel free to have a lot of fun with that molto rallentando. There are 2 measures from the end, da-da-da-da-da. And besides that, because this is really rubato, you can take your time on those 8th notes going into the next measure. So for example, the second measure going into the third measure, bum, bum, ba. You don't have to go bum, bum, ba, right? So just make this as dramatic as you possibly can, and I think then it'll go really, really well. Just put a lot of emotion into it, a lot of dynamics. There's a lot of piano, forte, really make a difference with those, and I think it'll be great then. Thank you again for taking the time to prepare these English horn etudes. I hope it was a lot of fun. I know playing English horn is one of my favorite things to do. I hope you walk into your audition with confidence, and I hope it goes wonderfully.